Welcome, everyone. It's so exciting to be back here with Meridith Maahs and collaborating once again on the Pallas Athena cycle. And it just so happens, and we didn't even know this when we set this time up, or the way the universe set this time up, is that today Pallas Athena is rising out of the underworld in her Scorpio cycle. And we'll put in the show notes the links to the other videos we've done on this if you haven't seen them, or even if you have, you might want to go back and get reminded about what's happening and how the cycle started. Was it last May that it started, I think, or something like that? It's been a
Right.
it's been a while. So it's been almost a year, and these cycles go just over a year. So, or around a year. Anyway, but today, in the cycle that lasts for over a year, Pallas Athena just so happens to be rising out of the underworld, meaning if we could see her, she's an asteroid far away, so we couldn't see her with the naked eye. But if we could see her with the naked eye, we would be able to see her starting today. And the underworld is the initiatory process of death and rebirth, going through a death process, and now she's going into the rebirth process, rising up out of that. She happens to be at 19 Capricorn and 20 minutes. So she's in the sign of wisdom, and how, so we would imagine that after going through a death and rebirth initiation, she's ready to embrace more of her wisdom. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. And then also from the Capricorn perspective, they are the elders, the wise ones, the ancient ones, the ones who are the wisdom keepers. And they're the ones that inspire, that energy is what inspires us to honor the generations that have come before us and to honor the generations that are yet to come. And so really tuning into this wisdom aspect. The other thing that's happening today, just so happens, it's precise right now as we're doing this recording, is Pallas Athena is square Chiron. And so there's how do I want to say this? The energy of the energy of the shamanic healer, Chiron, and how Pallas Athena has gone through this process of dying to the things that are in the way of her living her passion, living her aliveness. What's been in the way of that? So Chiron's there to help and is saying basically, you've done it, girl. Good for you. You've gone through the initiation. You're here, and I'm right here to let you know that
Mm.
this has happened. Now, as you were saying earlier, Meredith, not everybody will feel in the same place with this, but this is what's happening in the collective reality. So, with that, I'm going to let Meredith share with us what she's been getting about what's happening right now.
So I've been thinking about Athena coming up and moving into her mature wisdom, or her mother wisdom, her the metas part of her. And we talked earlier about how she was born of her father, and that journey that she's been on, that we've been on together, about the metamorphosis and the rounding out, the way that she's come, the way that this energy can be used in the world right now, and the way that this journey has allowed us to explore the passionate part of Athena, connecting with the earth part of her, and making decisions, and being in the world in a more a whole way. We've talked about that before. Grounded in her passion, in her femininity, owning it, and then using her and having that wisdom shift into. And I've been exploring shift into a maturity. And so Galen sent me an email like, what do you want to talk about? Well, I think we should be talking about that she just came up from the underworld. And maybe the question would be, what are we getting around? What's the rest of the Scorpio journey? What did we learn? What's coming up? And for me, that's exploring the Crone phase of Athena. And so when I think about, so I pulled out one of my old faves, one of my old favorite books, Goddess is an Older Woman, Archetypes in Women Over 50, Jean Shinoda Boleyn. been to see her lecture way back when several times. And so she talks about the Crone phase and of Athena as being, I'm going to quote her, that when Athena has found her mother, her metis with wisdom, when she's connected with the depths of herself, um, she doesn't harbor illusions then about herself or others. She's not susceptible to that over intellectualizing, perhaps, or her intentional way of looking at things, her perspective. She, in the fullness of this scorpionic journey, the opportunity has been for us to, quoting here, wisely takes reality into account without being cynical or naive. And I just love that because one of the dangers of when you're operating from um, a more intellectual or a place or the place of the structure that you've built or the structure for yourself, whether it's just inside your personality, your family, or the bigger world. But when you're coming from that um, Capricorn, I guess, energy of being held by the structure, then there is a risk of becoming cynical because you're not in touch with um, the heart of things, the compassionate part of the decisions you're making. And we talked before about Athena made the decision when she was asked in the court, well, what do you think, Athena? Well, Apollo will give it over to you. Do you think that it's the father or is it the mother who's in charge here? And she goes, well, I was birthed by my father, so I would have to I cast my vote to the father. And that was a perfect example of the Athena energy being caught or just seeing one aspect and not understanding what the roundness of that decision and how it didn't have to be an either or polarity, right or wrong, male or female, black or white. So what I've been exploring in my personal life as well as um, through my reading is that when she finds value in that part of herself, in her feminine wisdom, in her earthed, in her passionate self, when she connects with all of that, with the mind, the heart, and the earthed feminine wisdom, then that allows her to express her emotional and nurturing side and to express that for herself and for others and for the community. So this is the exciting part of today of her rising from the underworld. We have an opportunity, should we want to take it, to just explore what are the things we've been working on, what are the issues, where are we now, what are we still working on, what are the ahas we got over the winter, the darker time. We're getting ready for the seed, and the seeds are percolating underground pretty soon. Spring will come, another cycle. Um, and this will come from uh, when we connect with our emotional and nurturing side, then we are able to feel the passion that we have, our felt passion, and that we bring that to the decisions we make. And that is where the wisdom becomes the crone wisdom, the crone phase of Athena. So I just wanted to share that um, we're all, of course, all in different phases of this transformation, always. And that some of us are still having a really hard time to focus. Some of us are still having extreme ups and downs. And as Kaylin pointed out, of course, the world, I mean, just there are many reasons for that astrologically, as well as just the world, the time, the age we're in. But this isn't just this isn't this isn't a straight line process. This is cyclical. And so for me personally, um, I looked back at my journals and I got to see, wow, you stopped writing when this thing, back then, what happened then? And I got to look at that underworld journey that I've been on. And um, I got to, that was the first aha where I could say, oh, okay, well, this is something you need to pay attention to. And then when I put my focus on paying attention, so when you put your focus, when you really know, okay, I am in the underground, I am on a scorpionic journey, and what is coming up, and I'm going to take my wisdom, I'm going to take my mind, I'm going to take my heart, and I'm going to take my passion. I'm going to really look at that, and I'm going to intend that those things that need to change, or those things that I'm saying goodbye to, can come up for me to be consciously aware of. And then the next step presents itself. But there's never, this is a process that's never over. We're always continuing doing this. For me, it was dream time. So three or four really important dreams, um, where I was shown, and it became very clear what are the lower energies that I've been holding that my mind wouldn't let me look at, that I didn't wouldn't let myself feel, that were running the show. And so that still is an opportunity. That is a journey that we'll be on. However, as we come up now in this cycle out of the underworld, um, Athena comes up out of the underworld today. Um, this is just a wonderful time to just take a look without judgment, with self compassion, where we are, what we've learned, what are we still working on, and do that from the wise woman mother place, mothering ourselves from the wisdom of the Crone energy, knowing that it is cyclical and that everything really is all right, always all right.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So I just want to say, I love that what you spoke about dreams and how that was giving you information. And also that you went back and looked at your journals and saw that you had stopped journaling for a while and what information was there for you from that. Interestingly, I came across, it wasn't actually a journal, it was a document that I had on my computer. It just showed up out of nowhere. Like, how is that happening? And it was about a really challenging time that I went through and where I was recognizing that I had given up who I was. And this is in my early 30s. I mean, it was way back, a long time ago, over 30 years ago. Um, Probably 35, maybe 37 years ago. I don't know, something like that. But it was a really long time ago. And that I was recognizing how I was not, I was needing to step into my true self. And because I had given up myself in a relationship as a mother, doing all the things I was doing. And it was just startling. And I was like, man, I've come a long way. Since that time. That was so exciting. And I also could recognize some of the challenges that I was having then, I'm still having now, not nearly to the degree I was having them then, but still having them now. And it was like this message. I still am working on this, and that's okay. And look how far you've come. So celebrate that. And so part of what we want to do is that's coming out of the underworld, Pallas Athena, the wisdom aspect of ourselves. She's so much more of that, but she's definitely that piece when she's in Capricorn in the larger Scorpio cycle that started last year. And then how are we rising up into recognizing our journey and being grateful for what we've been through? Because at the time I was not grateful. Back then I was not grateful. I was grateful for the insights I was having, but I wasn't grateful for all the hell I was going through at the time. So and then the other thing that's interesting is that, okay, so today, January 18th, 2025, Pallas Athena is rising from the underworld. And on January 26th, she's going to be opposite retrograde Mars. And so she's getting an infusion of insight and information from the sacred masculine. And that's happening at 22 Capricorn for her and 22 Capricorn Cancer for Mars, that opposition, like a full moon effect. And so her relationship to the sacred masculine, and I love that you were talking about how, and way back when, and the way the story goes is that she gave her vote to the masculine. And instead, and so perhaps now she could see, wait, where's the balance? How do we experience the balance of the masculine and the feminine, sacred masculine, sacred feminine? Not one being more important or less important than the other, both being equally valuable and valued. And and that we so I just feel like this is an amazing opportunity to maybe we are rewriting that story. I think we are rewriting that story, actually, not maybe. Uh, we are rewriting that story, but here's another opportunity, another chance, another option for that. And then on February 16th, she goes into Aquarius and she begins to expand her point of view and everything that she's ever thought and believed and whatever she thought it was. And then within a couple of days, a few days, like the 24th of February, she's going to conjunct Pluto, which is also very much about dealing with the underworld or dealing with our shadow or dealing with the parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily always want to see. So she's not completely out of that because she's going to have another contact with that. But I like to think of Pluto as the alchemist, the one,
Yes.
and you know, Pallas Athena in the Scorpio cycle that lasts until August, I think, June or July, August, somewhere in there. Um, it's it's
August 7th.
August 7, yes. Okay, good. So the cycle's lasting till then, Scorpio, and it's really all about all that too. It's all about the alchemy. How do we transmute and transform so that we can live more fully alive, more passionate, more energized, more aligned with who we are truly meant to be. So these are a few of the things. I bet you have some thoughts about this too.
Yeah, I do have one that came up when I was listening to you, feeling into what you were saying. Um, so as we go through these cycles, there, we go through these cycles naturally and organically. And to the extent that we have connected with our hearts and our intuitive side, our intuitive energies, whatever the extent to that extent, then, or maybe perhaps we have energies that have us that naturally that we're very tuned into the cycles or our own cycles, even whatever. Um, we will get urges. So this is something or something practical, um, uh, everyday thing to think about. Think about what this week or this month, what have you been feeling yourself drawn to do? What have you been doing naturally? For me, it's been um, taking all my medicine, cleaning off my medicine, just taking all my medicine off the shelves. I just felt compelled to take everything off, dust everything, touch everything, decide and I thought, well, I'm just going to get clean and lean. I just really, there's so much, I've got altars everywhere and all my
You're
medicines
talking about your
everywhere.
spiritual medicine, not your
I'm
medication
talking about
medicine.
my
So
spiritual
just so
medicine.
people are clear.
Okay. I'm talking about my books, my feathers, my drums, my stones, and maybe just that vase that I love and that dried flower I've had forever. It doesn't always medicine, I mean the stuff that feeds you in your visual and energetic environment. So that purging has been coming up, that it's time to purge, it's time to clear, it's time to make ready. And I thought, oh, I'll just get all clean and lean. That's what I'm going to do. But you know what? I ended up putting everything back in a little different places, but the dried flowers that the Native American Tohono O'odham grandma made 4 years ago are still back in the vase on my shelf, things like that. But I touched them again and I dust them and I connected with them again. So that is also a way that we reconnect with ourselves, assess uh, and not in an intellectual way, in an energetic way. We assess where we are. We take a look at where we are. We make ready for the new that's coming. And for me, I found that very anchoring. And I know there's more. There'll be more Plutonic information to alchemy, but that's part of the alchemy for me is to stay in touch and with my environment. And for me, that's That's the grounding part that keeps me connected with the work that I'm doing. And when I do that, um, I said to my husband, I'm not journaling, but I'm kind of journaling by moving my body around. I'm touching, it was a different way. It was a non-intellectual way of assessing, of tapping in, of hearing myself just by moving and cleaning and clearing and doing that. There are thoughts that came in and ahas that came in that I love to write that I have written in the past in my journal, but this time it was moving, it was physical, and that grounding, that Capricorn energy, which we always think, there's so many aspects to that. You have to remember that it's an earth energy. So grounding in any way that works for you, I think is a good thing to watch, uh, pay attention to. What are the things you're drawn to? Oh, for someone, it might be, I really need to get out and hike that mountain. I mean, I need to put everything down and go do that now. For me, it was clearing my little space, my little nest, but there was so much value in it. It was so rich. And actually, I think doing that jump started two very important dreams that I had this week that helped me get a focus on uh, my scorpionic journey and what came up as today out of the underworld and bring me some clarity that was non-verbal, non-intellectual, came right from my gut, came right from my body, came right from paying attention to my energy. And I think that is the wise, that is the wise woman energy of the crone. That is the gift of the crone. Um, Let me see. Uh, I had one more quote. Oh, yes, I'll just read a heading. Metis as wise counsel is practical and intellectual wisdom. That practical element.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, I think that's something that's very true for Capricorn energy anyway, because Capricorn it's like, how do we put things into place, the structures into place? How do we create the environment, clean it up, rearrange whatever we need to do so that it actually really works for us? And once it's in place, once those structures are in place, then we don't have to work as hard because they're there to support us and we've designed them in a way that supports us. And so the one of the ways I like to think of Capricorn is that it's not about doing, it's about doing in an effective and efficient way, but not about having to constantly be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
then as she gets ready to move into Aquarius, it's also about being visionary. And so if you look at Capricorn and Aquarius together, there's the visionary aspect of Aquarius and the practicality of Capricorn is how do you bring those visions into form so they can work together in that way. And so Pallas Athena is getting her base in the Capricorn piece, and then she's going to go into Aquarius and she'll be able to, having come through the initiation, having gone through the death process, she'll be able to tune into more expansive visions as a result. And that's pretty cool. So I'm really, really excited about this, that this next month is going to be just really amazing. And so Meredith and I will come back and talk to you about the end of the cycle in a couple months. We'll do that, and then we'll see where we go from there. So
all
thank you.
right.
I loved what you shared. It was all so good, and I hope everyone felt they got some value out of this. And be
Yes,
sure to check out the show notes for additional videos and anything else that might be there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you all have an amazing time with this Pallas Athena rising from the
yes.
bye.
Bye.